When Caroline Leavitt walked into the Fox News studio, everyone expected a tough political interview. She was the White House press secretary, after all. But something felt different. The host, Sean Hannity, tried to keep things light, but Caroline wasn't in the mood to joke. Her eyes kept going back to an old envelope on the table. It had a red wax seal from the Vatican. That small envelope changed everything. What started as a normal TV interview slowly turned into something no one expected: a live confession, a deep secret, and a truth that had been hidden for a long time. When Caroline finally spoke, her words shook the studio. What she revealed could change how people see faith, power, and hidden secrets. The crowd had clapped when she walked in. The lights were bright, and everyone was ready for a fiery political debate. But Caroline looked serious. She sat down, glancing again at the mysterious envelope on the table. "Thank you for being here, Caroline," Hannity began, trying to keep it professional. She nodded. "Thank you, Sean. You've made waves in politics," he said, smiling. "But tonight, what are we going to talk about? Politics? Or something else?" People laughed, but Caroline didn't smile. Instead, she said quietly, "I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here because of a promise I made to Pope Francis." That got everyone's attention. "A promise?" Hannity asked, surprised. "To the Pope." Caroline nodded. "He trusted me with a secret. Tonight, I'm going to share it." All eyes turned to the envelope on the table. Caroline sat still, staring at it like it held something too heavy to carry alone. "It started a while ago," she said slowly. "I got a message, not by email or from my office. A priest delivered it in person. A small, handwritten note. The letter asked her to meet Pope Francis alone at midnight at Casa Santa Marta in the Vatican. It was signed, simply, Francis." Hannity raised an eyebrow. "A private meeting with the Pope? How did you feel?" "I thought it was a mistake," Caroline said. "Why would the Pope want to meet me? I was just part of the U.S. delegation to Rome, there to talk about religious freedom." But something told her to go. At midnight, a black car picked me up. No flashing lights. No security. Just a quiet ride through the streets of Rome. I was led through dark stone hallways lit by torches. Then I saw him, Pope Francis, sitting on a simple wooden chair.
She paused.
The room was silent. He looked tired, but his eyes were kind. He took my hand and thanked me for a speech I gave. He said it came from the heart. We sat down. He didn't talk about politics. He spoke about the church, the problems, the people who pretended to serve God but only cared about power or money. Caroline looked emotional. He told me he felt alone, that he was trying to fix things but it was hard. He said, "I need someone outside the church. Someone who can speak the truth." And he chose me. The envelope on the table? He gave it to her that night. "Don't open it yet," he said. "Only when I'm gone. You'll know when the time is right." She had kept it sealed ever since. But when the Pope died, everything changed. "I couldn't stay quiet anymore," she said. "I had to speak." Sean Hannity asked gently, "So, what happened after you came back from Rome?" Caroline's voice dropped. Strange things started happening. Notes appeared in my bag, my hotel room, and the mail. They all warned me. Keep the envelope secret. Words kill faster than knives. I thought it was a joke, but then I noticed other things: cars following me, silent phone calls. The fear built over time. But Caroline stayed quiet. Until now. She looked into the camera. Her voice was steady. "Pope Francis gave me a mission. And tonight, I will carry it out." As Caroline spoke, her stress was clear. She felt like she was going crazy, but deep down, she knew something was wrong. Hannity noticed the change and asked, "Did you report this to anyone? The police? Or White House security?" Caroline shook her head and smiled bitterly. "I wanted to, but I was scared. I was afraid that if I spoke up, people would think I wasn't fit for this job. Or worse, they'd come after the envelope. I kept it in a small safe at home, but every night, it felt like a ticking time bomb." Her voice softened as she shared something deeply personal. "Then one night, everything changed. I had a dream that felt different from anything before. I found myself standing in a big hall, surrounded by marble walls, but no one was there. At the end of the room, I saw Pope Francis. The audience was silent, listening carefully as Caroline continued. He wasn't wearing his usual white cassock. Instead, he wore a simple gray cloak like a pilgrim. When he walked toward me, I felt warmth but also a deep sadness from him. He said, "Caroline, you carry the voice the world needs, but you must choose. Keep yourself safe, or let the truth guide you." Caroline paused, clearly emotional. Then he reminded me of something I had forgotten. When I was young, my grandmother took me to church in New Hampshire. I prayed in front of a statue of Mary, not knowing what to ask for, but I remember feeling peace. In the dream, Pope Francis said, "You prayed for light as a child. Now you must carry it, even if darkness chases you." Hannity, clearly fascinated, asked, "Do you think it was just a dream, or something more?" Caroline looked lost in thought. "I don't know, but when I woke up, I was shaking. It felt like he was speaking to me from somewhere else. That dream made me realize I couldn't run from this anymore. The envelope wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a responsibility." She went on to explain how the pressure started building after Pope Francis died. She noticed strange things happening. A close advisor asked if she was okay, and a journalist called hinting that she knew about Vatican secrets. Caroline felt trapped. Looking straight at Hannity, she said, "What made me decide to speak wasn't the notes or the dream. It was when I saw the news about his funeral. I felt empty inside. I knew that if I didn't speak up, I'd be betraying not just him, but myself." The studio was completely quiet, the audience absorbed in her story. Caroline touched the envelope gently. "I brought it here tonight because I couldn't keep quiet any longer. He chose me not because I'm special, but because he believed I would speak when the time came." Hannity nodded. "And that time is now." Caroline nodded too, her eyes serious. "Yes, but before I open this envelope, I need everyone to understand. What I'm about to reveal isn't just about the Pope. It's about all of us." The room went still, everyone waiting. Hannity leaned forward. "Caroline, you've shared the secret meeting, the threatening notes, and the dream. What made you choose now, this moment, to break the silence?" Caroline stared at the envelope again, her fingers tracing its wax seal as if drawing strength from it. It wasn't just one moment. It was thousands of tiny moments building up until I couldn't ignore them. After Pope Francis's death, I felt trapped. The envelope wasn't just paper. It was the trust he placed in me. But I was scared of what it contained, and of the price I might pay. She continued, describing the pressure of her job as White House press secretary. Every day, I faced reporters and press briefings. But the notes kept coming. One was left in my briefcase on a flight to Florida. Another on my car's windshield. They all said, "Stay silent or lose everything." I started questioning everyone, my staff, my friends. Even my husband noticed something was off, but I couldn't explain it. Hannity interrupted. "Did you ever consider just letting it go? Locking the envelope away and moving on?" Caroline looked at him, unwavering. "Every day, I thought about my son, my husband, my career. Opening that envelope could destroy everything. But I remembered his voice, that night in Rome. He chose me not because I was brave, but because he believed I would find the strength when it mattered." Her tone became stronger. Then one morning, everything changed. I was feeding my son when a package arrived. No address, just a plain brown envelope. Inside, there was a typewritten note and signed, "The time has come. Speak, or the truth dies with him." Along with it was a small silver cross, like the one my grandmother used to wear. I knew then that I couldn't wait any longer. The studio was silent. Caroline's words had a powerful weight. That night, I paced around my living room, envelope in hand. I thought about my family, the risks, but also about the people in New Hampshire, the children who found peace in their faith. If what I had could help protect that, even just a little, how could I stay silent? She explained why she chose live television. I needed a place where no one could edit my words. A place where the world could hear the truth clearly. This show, this moment, is the only chance I have. I told my team I was doing an interview, but I didn't tell them why. They thought it was about policy. Only I knew it was something much bigger. Hannity, softer now, asked, "Aren't you afraid of the consequences? For you? For the administration?" Caroline nodded. "I'm still afraid. But fear isn't a reason to break a promise." I picture him in that simple room, trusting me with something he couldn't carry. "If I don't speak now, I'll spend my life regretting it." She sat up straighter, hands on the table, ready to reveal the truth. The envelope sat between them, a silent witness to what was about to happen. Before coming here, Caroline did something she hadn't done in a while. She went to her bedroom, closed the door, and knelt. She prayed, not for answers, but for courage. She saw her grandmother's face in her mind and heard her voice telling her to stand tall. She felt the Pope urging her forward from somewhere deep inside her. The audience was silent, hanging on every word. Caroline's voice was firm, and her eyes flashed with determination. "I'm not here to be a hero. I'm here because a man who carried the weight of the world asked me to carry a piece of it. And tonight, I will keep my word." Hannity nodded slowly, sensing how heavy the moment was. "So, what's next?" "Caroline, you're holding the envelope. Are you ready to show us what's inside?" Caroline didn't answer immediately. She just lifted the envelope, the red wax seal shining under the lights. "This isn't just about what's inside," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "It's about what happens when we stop running from the truth. I don't know what I'll find, but I can't turn back now." The room seemed to darken as all attention turned to Caroline and the envelope, now a symbol of the unknown. The audience was caught in her story of a secret meeting, threatening notes, and a mysterious dream, and they all held their breath. Hannity knew this wasn't just another interview. He looked directly at Caroline, his voice calm but sharp. "You've taken us on quite a journey, Caroline. Now you're holding that envelope. What are you going to do with it?" Caroline gripped the envelope, her fingers tracing the wax seal. Her eyes were resolute, but there was a slight tremor in her voice. "I've carried it long enough," she said, her words ringing out clearly. "Pope Francis gave it to me because he believed I'd know when the time came. And now I know." Without hesitation, she placed the envelope on the table and pulled a small knife from her jacket pocket. It was a gift from her grandmother, with a cross engraved on the handle. The blade glinted under the lights as she carefully cut through the wax seal. The sound of the seal breaking was soft but sharp, like a door opening. The audience leaned forward, some whispering. But Caroline didn't seem to hear them. She opened the envelope and pulled out a thin sheet of paper, the Pope's handwriting clear on it. She took a deep breath, her voice calm but heavy with meaning. "These are his words," she said, and began to read aloud. "Caroline, you are light in the storm. I write these lines with a heavy heart, for the church I love is being eaten from within. There are those who claim God's name but act for power. They don't destroy with swords but with smiles and false promises. I have fought, but I cannot defeat them alone." The room was silent, the weight of the Pope's words settling on the audience. Caroline continued, "I see a shadow, not from the church, but cloaked as a friend. He will make faith vanish, not through war, but through emptiness. If I am gone, you must speak, for truth is the only flame left." The audience stirred, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Hannity's eyes widened. "You're saying the Pope foresaw a villain? A specific threat?" Caroline didn't answer right away. Instead, she set the paper down and pulled out another note from the envelope. This one was smaller and written in hurried handwriting, as if it had been penned in a rush. "This isn't all," she said, her voice lower now, as if revealing something dangerous. He wrote more. "They call themselves S-Nom men, a group hidden in the shadows. They're not enemies, but they're not friends either. They claim to save the church, but I fear they'll destroy it first." She looked up, her gaze sweeping the audience. "Nom men," she repeated, the word hanging in the air like a curse. "I don't know who they are, but after he passed, I received this." She pulled a small black USB drive from her pocket. It was unlabeled, with no note attached. "I viewed its contents, and it confirms what he wrote." Hannity's eyebrows rose. His voice became tense. You're talking about evidence? What can you share?